sport. This is a team sport. The more accomplished hey, between Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, you think he's more accomplished than Bart Starr? Starr won 5 titles in 9 years under Lombardi. I don't know. I don't know. Right? I think Jalen Hurts has already surpassed Donovan McNabb as the all-time Eagles' best quarterback. I would say this to you. Now he has to put years together, Philly, born. Now he has to put the years behind it. You see, how about this? I think this is a better I don't know. Do you think this is a statement that's true? Donovan McNabb right now is still the greatest quarterback in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. But Jalen Hurts has the intangibles to take that place. He just needs to be elite every year. See, I think Philly born, you make my point. When you look at the 2 quarterbacks that would lead you, if you had a pick between Jalen Hurts and Donovan McNabb to take your team across the finish line to win a Super Bowl, who are you picking? I'm not picking McNabb. I would never pick that guy. I think he's a loser. I would take Jalen Hurts in a second. In a second. Shit, I might take Jaws over Donovan. Jaws had guts. McNabb was petty. Bitched at his teammates for their own successes. Dude, he didn't hate T.O. because T.O. had a big mouth. He hated T.O. because T.O. was a better player than him. That's why he hated him. When Deshaun Jackson got the distinction of being the first guy to be a Pro Bowler at both special teams and wide receiver, he hated that too. His pettiness is what makes him a loser. He's a loser. I mean, and now he's come back to Philly with his hand out and his head down, looking for forgiveness of how he treated fans and how he treated the media. And that's why he still keeps that argument going with T.O. after 20 years. It's him. Okay? Because T.O.'s right. He's not wrong. Well, one guy destroyed the locker room. Huss, that's your responsibility as a quarterback in this league to make sure that that locker room gets along with everybody. Everyone. Ask Tom Brady. Ask Jalen Hurts. Look at all the personalities that these quarterbacks today have to deal with. When you've got a shitty attitude, Kyler Murray or Aaron Rodgers, you don't win at critical moments. Why? Because your own self-serving needs outweigh the betterment of the team. The sacrifice of one is worth the pain of not having to sacrifice the many. You're on a football team of 53 men that you have to motivate every Sunday, whether they're an asshole or whether they're people that should sit at the right hand of God. You're there to manage everyone. You're there to help everyone, no matter what it is. And if you got to eat a little ego, you got to be Steph Curry or Dwayne Wade. You know why those guys, I love those guys as leaders. They brought personalities into their team like LeBron James and KD, 2 babies, and they treated them like men. That's why they won with them. Hey, this is your team, KD. Hey, LeBron, this is your team. Everyone knew in Miami. No, it wasn't. It was Dwayne Wade's team. And everybody knew it wasn't KD's team. Were those 2 guys the best players on the floor? Yeah. But it wouldn't have worked unless the leadership was in the room with Steph Curry and with Dwayne Wade. That's what Jalen Hurts is. Okay? See, Jalen Hurts not only reads the field, he reads the locker room. Something Wentz failed at massively. That's what makes him a $255 million gamble that the Eagles are willing. Can you imagine all the conversations they had? And to go like this, nobody in their right mind goes like this. Here's $50 million for a one-year wonder. So you think he's a one-year wonder? Let's talk about it. What are we paying for here? You know, Wentz, we gave the contract extension. What separates it? It's the man. It's not the numbers. It's how he processes his life. It's how he processes the game. He's being paid for his brain, how he sees it. So when you guys keep going, you know, don't think, and you know, I always try to tell you guys this, try not to think so micro. Think more macro when you're talking about great superstar players. What do they bring to your team that's different from the last guy? Dude, I'll tell you one thing that the Eagles have that probably helped them through the process with Hurts is that they had the failure of Wentz. Okay? Not a very tough guy. I'll make a point to you. Jalen Hurts couldn't raise his arm according to what Peter King said when he played in that Giant game. Couldn't raise his arm. I guarantee you Carson Wentz doesn't play in that game. I guarantee he doesn't play. That Seattle game was the last straw for Howie. Okay, not only is he not a good locker room connection guy, he's not tough. Mistake. Didn't have the right coaches around him. Frank left. You had a coach and Doug who was fighting for more autonomy because he was protecting them. He wanted to get better players around him. Howie had given up on him. He's not tough. See, Doug's loyalty cost him a job in Philly. I see it now. I got it. I completely got it now. They paid $250 million on a guy on what he is and who he is. Not what he's going to. They want him to get better at being Jalen Hurts. You guys want him to be Joe Burrow. You guys want him to be Josh Allen. He's not. He's not going to be ever any of those guys. But you know what Jalen Hurts? You know what Jalen Hurts' numbers are going to be in a game? 275, 65 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. You put those numbers up every game, not turning the ball over, you'll win every fucking game you're in. How many times do we see this? 450 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. 2 picks come at what? The worst time in the game because he's forcing it late. Josh Allen. You're going to win with Hurts' stat line more than you're going to win with Josh Allen's stat line. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Hurts, 2 touchdowns, 275, and multiple ways of moving the ball. 60 yards rushing, 275, 300 yards in total offense every game, no turnovers and 2 touchdowns. You're going to win every game you're in. Every game you're in, you're going to win. Or you're going to have a Herculean effort like the guy in Kansas City. That was a Herculean comeback. And for the record, let's put that into perspective. And again, this is all about Hurts' improvement on the next step and what they're saying. Okay? That was the best second half of coaching Andy Reid has ever had. Andy Reid had to put the greatest second half coaching plan together to beat Hurts. That's what it's going to take to beat you. See, as much as that hurt, you still have to take the silver lining here with it. Tell you what, how many quarterbacks in the league could come out and throw at that completion percentage and do what he did and beat the Eagles? I don't know if there's any. It not only, Eric, took a superstar, but it took a superstar coaching effort in that comeback. You guys are looking at this. Okay? All those Prescott numbers, 400 yards, but 3 INTs. Joshua. And that's why he's 2-4 in the postseason. That's why he's 2-4. Exactly. Guy puts up Kirk Cousins' numbers. Look at, I don't even know what Kirk Cousins' postseason numbers are. They have to be horrific. Sirianni, a great coach? I don't know that. I don't believe that. I think he's a solid character. Watch this. I think he's a solid babysitter. I don't really believe that the Eagles have had a coach in that building since Andy Reid. I think you have babysitters in that organization now. I think you'll only have babysitters. And what babysitters do is they're told what to do, not get in the way, stay out of the way, and help continue to foster the culture that the top organization and the executive branch want to have in that building. That's my takeaway. Nick Sirianni's the most replaceable piece in that organization. Finding guys like him will be easy as long as you know the landscape, like Frank told him. Don't bitch with Howie. Don't put your beak in any place that you're not wanted, and you're going to be okay. Stay in your lane. The coaches that want to get out of their lane in Philly don't last. That will be a way of doing business moving forward. Okay? Mr. International goes, he's still respected. Yeah, because you know why? He respects the process. Know your role. Everybody in Philadelphia has, dude, the greatest thing that you can have in an organization is knowing your role and your role being told to you. It's not a slam on Nick. But what happens with ego and winning, you believe that you built up enough equity where you could start dipping into somebody else's sandbox, and that's where things go sideways. That's why the organizations that have all the clarity in it are the ones with the least voices in it. You got one voice in Philly, and you got an owner who allows that voice to be the Pied Piper of that organization. That's why it's working. The thing in Dallas, it doesn't work. Why? Well, the Pied Piper is the owner. The head coach has no respect and no autonomy. Because you know why? The owner doesn't know his role. When Jerry Jones was at his best is when he knew his role. Pay the checks. Pay the checks. Christian goes, respect equals wins. Dude, whether Nick Sirianni's the head coach or not, as long as Jalen Hurts and that locker room is the way it is, Nick Sirianni, Bob Sirianni, Nathan Sirianni, I don't care. I really don't. He's the most interchangeable piece in that locker room. Okay? I mean, know your role. One of the 48 laws of power is to never outshine the master. Correct. Obviously, too, my boy Tone here has read Sun Tzu. Sirianni understands it's in the best interest to appeal to Howie's ego. He knows he'll go further if he plays his role and sticks to football. It's not, Tone, it's not so much appealing to the ego, it's managing the ego of Howie Roseman. This is what made Tom Brady in 20 years of working with Bill Belichick work. Nobody works with Bill Belichick. You ever notice that? Nobody. He looks like Cleveland Bill Belichick. But Brady managed Bill Belichick's ego. Brady took the more subservient role and allowed him to believe what he was actually saying was something that truly mattered with the little tiny stupid little shit. Same thing with Greg Popovich. Do you know who the guy who took the subservient role when it came to spreading what he actually meant? It was Tim Duncan. The Spurs have not been the same since Duncan's been out of the building, and the Patriots have not been the same since Brady's been out of the building. It wasn't just because of their spectacular talent. It was because they were able to manage high-powered egos. You can't have two alpha dogs in the building at one time. They'll annihilate one another. So what you do is you manage that. You manage the ego. Brady managed the ego. You see, appealing means that you're constantly saying and doing and turning yourself into a lapdog. That's not what I'm saying Sirianni is. And most of you are right here. The more winning Sirianni gets to, if he's smart, use particular words that won't touch people off. You know, you can use words. Don't ever use phrases like my way, I think. What do you think? You know, we had a conversation the other day, all of us together, coaches he hired. He's going to be more open, Howie. You know, we were talking about we. Never use the word I if you're a coach in the Eagle organization. Fastest way to get fired. We, because why? What does that imply? We, the coaches that you hired, Howie, and myself, who you hired, we're having a conversation that we need more depth in the D tackle position. What do you think? You use we and you. That's managing Howie's ego. That's why he waited at the front door after he put Linval Joseph and Dominic Sue. And he was waiting there for everyone. Because Nick Sirianni made him feel that he did that. That's managing. That's managing. And see, in today's NFL, I think personally, this is why you see these Brandon Staley's and these Kevin Stefanski's and the Jonathan Gannons of the world, and you don't see those old dogs any longer because those guys use I and me, not we and us. They want this thing to be a collective group because of the analytics that are in the game. And that's what the Eagles are looking for in an organization. See, Chip Kelly's an I guy and a me guy, my way guy. That was never going to work. Was never going to work when you had an owner knowing that's not the kind of the culture that they want in the building. The culture is exactly what I'm telling you it is. It's a great culture, by the way. You know why? You're winning. You're making great hires. Your assistant coaches, I mean, hey, we'll see what Sean Desai does. You know, my question with him is going to be, is it going to be aggressive, not aggressive, the same? Still yet to be determined. You're more athletic now. But still, that's a Howie call. So if you're Sirianni, you go to him and you go, "Are we? What do you think? What do you think, Howie? More aggressive, less aggressive? You know, we brought in more athletic players. I'm assuming we want to be a little bit more athletic, which means what? A little more risk taking. You get younger and athletic to take a little more risk, because you know why? If a guy runs himself out of a play, he can run himself back into a play because of his athleticism. The Eagles are by far more athletic on defense this year than they were a year ago. They're less experienced. That's the difference in here. Is that they're just okay. Joshua, I got enough to handle, man. Thank you for saying that, though. Hurts masters in human relations. He'll be ready for the GM job in 10 years. Yale, you know what? Let me put it to you this way too. Let me put it to you this way too. On the great coaches that know how to manage. Jimmy Johnson was a psychology major at Arkansas. Okay, so his background is psychology and coaching. Every player loves to be stroked. Every general manager loves to be stroked. Certain guys you don't have to as much. Some guys you do. That's the key to being in the Eagle branch and in the Eagle organization. Okay? So, just to close this topic up, I got another one. I got a Jordan Davis topic at the top of the hour here. Don't put numbers on Hurts. We want him improving. Okay? We want him improving in his decision making, getting better at who he is. Dude, hone that. Why in the world would you want him drop? Dude, look at what happened to Brady. Brady got down with Bruce Arians. They were 7-5. They lose to the Bears on that game. They were no risk it, no biscuit. Brady goes, we cannot be turning the freaking ball over like this. We cannot. They went right back to dink and dunk, and they won a Super Bowl. Low percentage turnover plays, being smarter. That's what Tom Brady brought to the Super Bowl, and that's what he brought to Bruce Arians. Dude, no risk it, no biscuit. Don't win any Super Bowls. Consistency, no turnovers. Don't have to be spectacular plays. Do you guys remember any spectacular? Hey, for the record, do you guys remember any spectacular plays that Tom Brady made in those 6 Super Bowls in New England? Maybe the pass in the Rams game that put him in field goal position? Maybe that one? Hour 2, our friend Gary Cobb. OTAs this past weekend for the Eagles. We'll talk to him. He was there. Hit the like button. Got another topic. Jordan Davis is on the list. Keep it here on the National Football Show.